what's up, beautiful people? It's Shower Guy. Yeah, that's right. I snuck aboard the Orion capsule. I'm up here testing out the shower, doing what I do best, and that is staying cool and staying clean. But for now, you're tuned in to Lauren and PJ Do Science. Hope you learned something. See ya!
Galileo, Newton's laws, Darwin writes on nature flaws, Curie, radium and X-ray beams, Einstein relativity, Watson, Crick and DNA, black holes, Hawking, math, Copernicus redraws a path. Lauren and PJ do science. She's got a doctorate, he's got a beat in lyrics. Lauren and PJ do science. Yeah, he's a broke musician and she's gonna teach him.
Hey, yeah, thanks, Shower Guy. Yeah, I'm curious, how exactly did you wind up as a stowaway on the Orion capsule?
Well, it's pretty easy. Like, you know how I watch Bugs Bunny?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just climbed up the rocket.
Okay, all right, I understand, but you do realize they can't use like a proper shower in space, right?
Well, sure they can. I mean, I'm in one, aren't I?
They use dry shampoo and wet naps to keep themselves clean.
No.
It's not. So I don't know what part of the spacecraft you're in, but the fact that there's some kind of liquid sounding behind you is not good. You may, I don't know if you're in an engine or maybe some sort of liquid fuel, but that's...
Houston is go for TLI.
Integrity copies, and your integrity crew is go for TLI.
Oh no. Well, you know, the positive Shower Guy has many lives, and hopefully he'll be okay after this one. And yeah. Anyway, welcome to Lauren and PJ Do Science. I am your musical guy, host, fellow person who's running who's teaching today. My name is PJ, and of course, on the other side of the internet is Lauren. Lauren, how are you doing today after especially with the unforeseen tragedy that happened about 10 seconds ago?
Well, yeah, I think that ours is just not to question. Sometimes we just sort of have to let nature take its course, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trust the process, man. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
I mean, look, if he's going to be the first person to try to take a shower with rocket fuel and then get burnt up during a scheduled burn, then that's on him.
I mean, will he have died in vain? Probably, but maybe we'll have learned something in the process. I doubt it.
No, I don't think we will. He's vaporized in the atmosphere. Well, anyway, the show must go on. How are you doing today, Lauren?
Too bad. My birthday was on Tuesday, so I'm another year older and definitely not another year wiser.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah, treated myself to some new glasses, so I got that going. Or rather, a friend treated me to the glasses because I asked for help to pay for them. But I have new glasses. They're quite cute. I posted them on my Blue Sky account, and a whole bunch of people came out of the woodwork to tell me how cute my glasses were in a completely unpervy way.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. We would have I would have liked them on the official Lauren and PJ Do Science Blue Sky page, but I need to get on following that. And speaking of following, we need followers, please. If you're enjoying, if you like what we do and you listen to us, why not consider following us on wherever you get your podcasts? Because that kind of helps us out. We're still 17 strong. And this is our 10th episode, spectacular. I was going to do like like if they had to abort the launch yesterday, I was going to do this whole just giant like interpretive musical operatic piece celebrating our 10th anniversary. But the launch went off yesterday with a couple minor hitches, which we're going to talk about today. But yeah, so we're going to talk about that, and so no giant musical space opera,
which I'm sure you had completely written and ready to go, right?
I totally did. Yeah,
I know.
Yep.
You would never make something like that up.
I would never. I always have a backup plan. All right. So anyway, yeah, here we are today. We're going to be talking about the launch of the Artemis II rocket and the Orion capsule and the astronauts who are on their way to the moon, and not in like some, Jackie Gleason sort of way, like actually on their way to the moon.
Literally.
Oh, wow. Was that a Ralph Cramden joke?
It was.
It was. It was in fact a Ralph Cramden joke.
One of these days.
One of these days. Well, they are sending a woman to the moon, so I guess he's finally getting his wish.
That's an
Although
excellent.
Her name's not Alice.
They're also sending a toilet to the moon for the first time. I read.
Yes. Yeah.
That this is the first time we have a toilet this far in space, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it once they reach the upper orbit, that's when because on the ISS, of course, they have a working toilet there. But yeah, the Apollo astronauts, dude, they just like went to the bathroom in bags. They hooked up a bag to themselves, went, and then shot it out of the capsule. In fact, I'm sure you've seen Apollo 13, and I hope a lot of our listeners have. You remember that episode when Bill Paxton goes to the bathroom and he looks out the window and he says something like the stars are bright or something like that as his pee just kind of sparkles off into space. That's how they did it.
Yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons why they never shot women into space, is because they didn't want to spring for a shiwi.
Yeah, that's the only reason they did not shoot women into space in the 60s. You're right.
That, and they didn't know how many tampons that women needed.
Yes.
They
also
know.
women weren't quite humans, even though it was a woman responsible for the programming of sending people to space. But
Right.
We'll just kind of brush that under the rug. It's only men go to space. Brr.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, pay attention there. All right, so anyway, back to the Artemis. Yeah, everything went really, really smoothly as it could possibly have gone. So that's about as awesome as you could expect. There were a couple minor issues that were on the way. They had just like some small safety stuff. Like they had at about almost 2 hours before the launch went off, they had a problem with the range, and this was really interesting. On top of the capsule, they have something called the flight termination system, the FTS. Right? It's basically a rocket propulsion system that will shoot the capsule away from Orion in case, or the capsule away from the Artemis rocket in case something goes wrong with the rocket, propels them up and then they can just drift down safely to Earth. There was a problem where they couldn't, like the people they couldn't send a signal, like confirm a signal was being sent to the flight termination system to make sure it worked properly. So what they did, they went back to the vehicle assembly building, and one thing NASA is kind of good about is not throwing stuff out. And it's a good thing they didn't, because they were able to get this piece of like hardware that dated back to the shuttle era, and were able to come up with a workaround to confirm that yes, the signal is actually working. It's just some like weird minor hiccup, but everything's good. So they were able to clear that out a couple minutes later. So that was but if that had persisted, they would have had to scrub the launch because they couldn't confirm that.
You should never ever throw anything away.
Yeah. No, hoard everything you possibly can. You never know.
Yeah. My in-laws and my father are vindicated. Never throw anything away. You never know when you might need that.
I was going to say it's the equivalent of like your father or grandfather having a block of wood out in the shed or the garage or something that is just covered in dust and dirt and spiders and God only knows what else. And you're working on a project and you're like, man, I need something exactly like this. He goes, oh my God, I have that. And he runs out, picks up this 25, 30, maybe even 50-year-old piece of wood, brings it back into the house, and it's perfect for the project that you needed it for.
Yep. It's like that coffee can full of nails in the shed.
Yeah.
Because you never know. And you might need a nail of a particular size.
And they get so excited. So I'm sure this dude was like so excited that he was able to run back in to the assembly building and find this piece of equipment that was like, who knows, tucked behind a bunch of stuff and covered in like bugs, possibly an alligator. It's Florida, who knows? And bring it out to, man. But
I'm sure the look on his face was just one of pure masculine glee.
oh, no doubt. So I'm proud of him.
Yeah, I'm happy for you, Guy. You're out there living your best life with your what's the equivalent of a she shed?
A
Not
workshop.
a man cave. A workshop.
No, it's a workshop.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, and then the only other minor issue they had was about 54 minutes in. There was a battery issue with the again the launch abort system. It was just a sensor issue, NBD. No problems there. Battery's functioning fine. But I wanted to talk about the launch pad they went off of, 39B. This is an incredibly historic launch pad. It handled the Saturn V rocket, so it launched this to the moon originally. It's the inaugural launch of 39B was used for the Apollo 10 mission. So,
okay,
it's been pretty. It's pretty big. They launched some of the space shuttles from there. The final space shuttle mission went from there. The ill-fated Challenger went from there. They launched the Ares 1 rocket. I mean, it's. Look, if it's happened at Kennedy Space Center, it went from 39B. Like, if it was a big deal, it just went from 39B. That's okay. All I can say about that.
Impressive.
I couldn't really find notes as to why everything went from there. I would assume, and somebody in the comments, like if somebody wants to correct me here, but I would assume it has to do with its positioning. Because it's the furthest like north on the island. And I wouldn't be surprised if it had something to do with that. Maybe it's like the size of the rocket or the size of the pad they can use, but I don't know. I would be willing to bet that it has something to do with the positioning of it.
Yeah,
as much of a nerd as I am, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to have some like strategic purpose, I would guess.
Yeah, because I'm looking right now at some of the notes.
Yeah, just throwing that out there, I guess.
Well, no, I'm looking at some notes right now too, even while I'm going over it, like a couple articles, and I'm trying to figure out if there is a reason for it, and I don't see anything. I'm sure somebody can correct me. Hopefully, somebody can explain it to us in the comments. But yeah, that's if it happened there, it happened there. So yeah. But yeah, the launch went off. Oh, they were kind of funny after they did find out that right after they got up to space, there was in fact a stowaway on the rocket.
Oh.
Yep, they had an extra passenger that they didn't expect.
What or who was that?
Okay, now to explain what this is, I have to kind of paint a picture. Now, the computers they use for space are just, they're custom made for NASA. All the programming is custom made by NASA. It's just compute. It's not like they're shooting up a rocket using Windows or anything like that.
Yeah.
But on their tablets that they have Microsoft Outlook.
Say
and
less.
if you know, and if you've been traumatized by Outlook over the last couple of years, you know that there's classic Outlook, but Microsoft really, 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 to quote that kid who's, God bless him, he's now a meme from the interviews for the shuttles or for the launch. They really want you to use the advanced Outlook, right? Like every minute they seem to be begging me, are you sure you don't want to use advanced Outlook? Are you sure you don't want to use advanced Outlook? It turns out that Reed Wiseman was trying to troubleshoot some of the Optimus software that they have. But on his personal device, he couldn't operate Outlook. Outlook wasn't working.
Yeah.
To make it worse, for their personal devices, you would think they would use what's like the number one personal device. You think tablet. Everybody thinks iPad, right?
iPad, sure, yeah.
Right. Microsoft Surface Pro is what they're using on the Artemis.
Yeah, incidentally, because I've met with some NASA folks to talk about different projects and things. They won't use Zoom; they only use Microsoft Teams,
Mm-hmm.
which absolutely sucks. Like I don't know. I guess Microsoft has some kind of contract with NASA. That must be it. Um,
Who knows? I mean, I know in my own company we used to use Zoom, and then we switched to Teams for God knows what reason. I mean, I'm sure it has something to do with like the cost and the bundling of the package. But yeah, I mean, they're not going to use Apple because, of course, Apple's not going to work with any other hardware aside from Apple Heart. So it would have to be an entire
Right.
Apple rocket ship because,
basically,
yeah,
Mhm.
that's how Apple rolls.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a lot of things I could say about that, but it's. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he had a problem with Outlook running and it wasn't working. So he had to have somebody from the ground, somebody from flight control, just an IT guy, log into his computer or log into his tablet and troubleshoot Outlook for him.
Wow.
Yeah. And in typical IT fashion, of course, the first thing the guy said, have you turned it off and turned it on again?
Right. Right.
Reed Wiseman's like, yes. And then the IT goes, okay, well, you're going to have to submit a ticket. So I'm sure Reed Wiseman went to submit a ticket. But I mentioned earlier that there was a stowaway, and of course, what they found out the culprit was Clippy, our good friend, our good paperclip friend. Yeah, and apparently it was reported that Reed Wiseman saw him Clippy pop up on the screen saying, "Are you sure you want to go to space today? I see you're on the way to the moon. Would you like me to help you plot a graph?"
No, please don't. Please don't do that.
I see you're not landing on the moon. Would you like me to configure your hardware for moon landing?
No.
And then Reed Wiseman, after I'm sure hours of frustration dealing with Clippy to get anything done, as we all have, he just turned around and said, "Look, I want you to open the pod bay door and shoot yourself out of it." And of course, Clippy said, "I can't do that, Hal."
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. So yeah.
Computers. I absolutely love that movie. 2001. I show it to
I can't believe I screwed that quote up so bad.
I did. Having seen that movie so many times, I was like, "Oh, I gotta step in. I gotta."
Yeah, the worst part is I have like an app that opens my garage door, and I've named it Hal, and I call the garage door the pod bay door. Like that's how ashamed I am that I just bumbled that quote.
Oh, you really should be. We had a Macintosh Classic when I was growing up. It had a black and white screen, and it ran on 6.5 megahertz of RAM.
Whoo boy.
Yeah. And my dad had set up all the like startup sounds on it, and they were all from 2001 and 2010, the sequel. So when you started up the computer, it would say, "I'm completely operational and all my systems are functioning perfectly" in Douglas Brain's voice. And then when you went to shut it down, it would say, "I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that."
That's awesome. Yeah, I am forever ashamed. I'm sure y'all can shame me in the comments. That's okay. I'll allow this. Leave it to me to box the punchline of a joke that I kind of wrote. All right. Anyway,
I will say this: you can be proud of the fact that you just owned it instead of editing it out.
Yeah, I don't like when podcasts do that.
Yeah. So
I'm man enough to admit my mistakes.
that's right.
And I most certainly won't edit it. So if I were to misspeak and say something along the lines of, I don't know, well, all right, I'll be honest. I'll share a secret with you. Are you ready for my big secret?
I'm ready for your big secret. I'm dying to know.
I still
Redacted.
You do not. I don't believe that.
Uh-huh.
No.
I do.
Like how often?
Almost every night.
No.
Yeah. But like just to show the integrity of this podcast, I'm not going to edit that out.
Well,
anyway, getting back to the topic at hand.
It's not happening. I don't have any integrity. I'm not telling you people anything.
All right. Well, getting back to the podcast at hand.
your nighttime notwithstanding. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So what's the purpose of this mission? I mean, obviously they're going to fly around the moon. A lot of it is doing a test of the survival systems. And it's basically like a dress rehearsal for the eventual moon landing. So what they're doing is obviously proving that they can get to the moon and back. Simple. That whole way there, they're going to test like whether the oxygen systems can withstand itself, whether the computers work functioning, like every single piece of hardware or software, down to the toilets, down to the flywheel exercise machine, down to literally everything they have can sustain extended deep space travel. Because of course, when you're landing on the moon, you're not just like flying up there and taking a lap around the moon and coming back. You're doing, you're up there for a couple days. If you're like, that's how the Apollo program worked. They left guys up there for a bit.
I do.
And one of the things they're doing too is they're saving the docking with the lunar lander for Artemis III. But what they're doing with Artemis II is positioning themselves in such a way that it would simulate docking with a lunar lander. So they're turning the space shuttle around and going through those procedures as well. I keep calling it a space shuttle. They're turning the capsule around and they're going through those procedures to make sure that those would work. So it really is just like a full straight up dress rehearsal for Artemis II, Artemis 3. Artemis 3 is going to more focusing on actual functionality with the lunar lander and how that talks to each other for the eventual lunar landing on Artemis 4 in 2028. So it's not just like, all right, cool, let's fly up here and see if we can do this. There's a lot of side. That's in addition to like the regular science experiments they're going to be doing. One of the cool things they're doing around the dark side of the moon is looking for ice that could potentially be a good landing site. So if you think about the first people who explored the oceans, right? Mm-hmm. Why are all our biggest cities, and you'll know this, why are all our biggest cities along the coastline?
Because that was the only way to get around the world was by boat.
Right. Easy access to water.
Yeah.
That's the same. Lunar exploration is the same way. Apollo, the idea was, all right, we just want to plop some dude on the moon, see if we can do it, beat the Russians, right? So they didn't concern themselves with water locations or water sources or ice or anything. What they plan to do is scout out different spaces for the actual landing. I mean, they have, I forget how many, I think it was 8 different spaces, or 8 different landing sites picked out as potential spots for Artemis 4. But what they're doing on 2 is they're going up and looking at each of these sites and saying, all right, this one's viable, this one, this one not at all. And they want to come up with something that's somewhat close to the ice that's on the moon. Not only for obvious stuff like drinking water, but once you find ice and water, you can synthesize different materials. You can synthesize different fuels. You can synthesize all sorts of things with that water and different gases you find on the moon. So the whole point of the Orion and Artemis program is to establish a lunar base. Like this time, right. the plan is to get to the moon and stay there. So that's kind of the big goals of the Artemis II mission.
to find water is one of them.
Well, to find a good landing spot. I mean, it's not just water. If you you could have a landing spot with water, but there's just like a bunch of craters where a moon base would be incredibly unstable.
Right.
So it's more than that, but yeah, like a viable landing. And I actually pulled up a cool agenda of what they're going to be doing each day. So on day 1, what they did was obviously they launched. Rocket it goes up. About 8 minutes in after the launch, the main rocket engine's cut off, and that's when the cryogenic propulsion stage. That's the rocket that's actually attached to the capsule system, and I'm sure you saw it on TV, like the solar antennas that are out there. They did a burn that was the point to raise the pedigree, or the perigee, not the pedigree, the perigee.
Yes.
All right, now, Lauren, think back. Do you remember the difference between perigee and apogee?
Oh, yes. They have to do with the distance from a center point. Apogee's closer, perigee's further?
Flip that. Other way.
Apogee's further, perigee's closer.
Yes. And in this case, it has to do with an orbiting body. So the further you move the perigee, the further, of course, the apogee is going to go. And so what they do, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I would hope most of us know by now, rockets just don't go straight up. They have to go around the curvature of the Earth. And what they're doing with each orbit is building this orbit to basically slingshot them out of the Earth's gravitational orbit and set them on a course to the moon. So they did this, the first perigee burn to bring them to about 100 miles above Earth. An hour later, they did another one, which brought Earth into, or the capsule into high Earth orbit. So the ISS floats, oh man, I want to say it's about 250 miles away from sea level. I think that's the number, somewhere around there. But the ISS is considered still like the very heights of low Earth orbit. So to go to the moon, you have to get to high Earth orbit and beyond. So that's what they did. And while they were doing these initial orbits of the Earth and building up speed and these initial kind of burns, they were testing the water dispenser, they were testing the bathroom, carbon dioxide scrubbers, basically making sure that Orion can support life is that first little bit. They took a nap, and then on day 2, they did an engine fire that would, it's called a translunar injection burn. And this was the one that put them in position to go to upper Earth orbit and eventually, come out of Earth's orbit and slingshot themselves to the moon.
Right.
So that was all that was all on the first day. So you get into space. It's not like you can just chill after a rocket launch. You go, all right, oh, that's over. Sweet, I'm going to watch a movie. No, they put them right to work.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So day 2.
Doing science is a lot of work.
Yeah.
As it turns out.
All right. So day 2 yesterday, I mentioned the flywheel exercise. Now on the ISS, they have basically, I'm not going to call it a full gym, but more or less a full gym because those people are up in space for 100 days or so. But even with short space flight, they have to have some sort of exercise equipment on there to keep the muscles from going into entropy in zero gravity. So they have like a flywheel exercise device, and that got tested out because, again, that's going to be important if you're up in space for a couple weeks. Tested some more life support systems, tested some more emergency systems. Lots and lots of testing, and they finally did the last translunar injection burn. This is the one that is taking them out of the Earth's orbit and putting them on the pathway to the moon. So if you look at it, and again, think back to Apollo 13 is a great example because they're following the exact same path that Apollo 13 did with that figure 8. So they're going around the Earth a couple times, and then they're going up to the moon. They're going to lap around the moon, and they're not going to orbit the moon. They're just going to do a quick lap and then come back and then cross over, the road, if you want to put it that way, that they took to the moon and then come back to Earth. They're going to go further out in space than Apollo 13 did. So these guys are going to be the first people to go out or the furthest people have ever gone out into space,
Right.
which is kind of crazy. But so as of right now, of course, we're on day 3. That's right. That was an interesting stat. This burn provides 6,000 pounds of thrust. So basically, it's enough to accelerate a car from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2.7 seconds.
Nice.
So it's got some punch to it. Yeah, and then the rest of day 3, they're just basically they're going to take pictures of Earth and do a couple different things. Again, video communication. They have a lot of stuff. They do a lot of video communication, not just with their families, but if you've ever seen coverage of the ISS too, they do a lot of video communication with Earth, with a lot of the schools, a lot of different agencies. You know, they're basically on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so today we are on flight day number 3. So right now they're going through, and they're going to do this pretty much the whole way. It's just like very minor burns to adjust the trajectory and make sure everything stays on course. But right now they're on that target on the way to the moon. I'm not entirely sure exactly how far. I should have looked at a map before we did this podcast. But yeah, today as we're recording this, it is day 3 of the mission. So again, they're doing some more testing, a couple burns here and there. They're doing a CPR demonstration procedures in space and just making sure that works out fine. They're checking the medical kits, making sure all that stuff's good. And they're also checking the emergency communications abilities on the deep space network.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's pretty good. Day 4, they're going to do another trajectory correction burn to get them perfectly on the moon. They'll have an hour devoted to targets. They'll get imagery, some more just taking pictures and doing science. Day 5, of course, more doing science. But on day 5, they're going to enter the lunar sphere of influence, which is where the moon's gravity sucks in the capsule. So on day 5, they're going to be completely outside of Earth's atmosphere or Earth's pull of gravity and solely on the moon. The first time that's happened since 1973.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to be testing the crew survival system, different things. And like I said, day 6, 7, that's going to be all about the... day 6 is going to be about finding the different spots on the moon and checking those things out. They're going to be about 4,000 to 6 miles off the lunar surface as they swing around the far side of the moon. So that's pretty far.
And that's further away than we've ever sent anybody.
It's slated to be, yes. The current record is 248,655 miles away, which was the Apollo 13. They're expecting it to be a bit more than that. They're not going to say an exact number until it actually happens, but the expectation is that it's going to be further than that.
Right.
So the furthest out in space people have ever gone, which is pretty cool.
Pretty impressive.
But yeah, that's the day they're going to be. And a lot of some of my friends have actually asked me, like, what's the point in sending people to this? Why can't you just like send it unmanned and take a bunch of pictures? Well, you need that human eye, right?
Rude.
The human eye makes a difference. Yeah, very rude. But the human eye makes all the difference, right? So you can take all sorts of pictures and point a camera at whatever you want to, but the eye's going to observe way better than a camera does. And that's what they want, is like observations rather than, and you know this just from seeing, you could take pictures of microbes all day, but it's better to look at the microbes under a microscope with your own eyes, right?
Yeah. I mean, and it's not just like looking at images, it's also human interpretation of data is very different than training an algorithm to look at data. It's
the same exact procedure as you do, really.
Yeah.
It's just you're unfortunately doing it on Earth and not in space.
Unfortunately. Yes.
All right, so flight day 7, they're going to exit the lunar sphere of influence. So they're going to be on their way back into Earth, and they're going to have an off day to just kind of rest and relax. Now, the question is, what are they going to do on that off day? I'm anticipating your questions. What does an astronaut's off day look like? We,
Yeah, good
you
question.
know what? I'm going to ask you. What do you
mean,
think it looks like?
you know, I would assume that they would spend their day off relaxing, maybe trying to exercise a little bit because of the concerns of like muscle wasting and zero G, although they're not going to be up there for like that long, but you know, they're doing a lot of work. I would expect they would want to have some time to just not do that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm basing this on the like what I know about the ISS, right?
Okay.
And what they do up there. They have a lot more room. So on their off days, they do what you said, like looking out the window, taking pictures, just kind of chilling, doing some exercising. They have a whole library of movies that they can watch too,
Oh,
because they have that
that's
personal tablet.
yeah.
Now, I'm going to assume, and I couldn't find anything on this, so again, if somebody wants to correct me, please go ahead. I'm going to assume they have the same capability of watching movies and listening to different music on the capsule, because that's going to be on your personal device. Like, I'd have to assume that. Wouldn't be surprised if there's like maybe a couple games up there, but one thing that was really cool is on the ISS, they can bring musical instruments up there.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So they can just like jam out.
Yeah, you can bring up a guitar up there. You can bring a couple of people have brought guitars. They brought keyboards, saxophones, flutes. There was a didgeridoo that was brought up there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. If you remember, I mean, what better than playing a didgeridoo than flying over Australia?
That is an excellent point.
I just want to know why nobody's brought a theremin up there.
No one has, really? That feels like an obvious one.
I have a thought on this, and it's the same reason why I don't think you could bring like a Nintendo Switch up there or a Game Boy or something. I would imagine it has something to do with the battery. Because when like you go on a plane, they're like, yeah, you can't bring this, that, and the other thing on a plane. So I would imagine that in the event of like a depressurization emergency, a lithium-ion battery could become a liability.
Yeah.
So that's my assumption. I could be wrong there, but that would be my best guess.
No, that makes sense. I don't know. It makes sense.
But I don't know if you remember back in 2013, Chris Hadfield did a recording of Space Oddity while on the ISS.
Oh, yeah. Well, the only other thing that I could think of is that there aren't any astronauts who know how to play the theremin. But that's kind of an
come on.
razor answer. I'm just saying, maybe so far there hasn't been an astronaut who can play the theremin. That's all.
Well, you know what? That is further evidence why NASA needs to make me an astronaut.
You know how to play a theremin?
I mean, I've fooled around with one. I wouldn't exactly say I know how to play it, but I have played one with some success.
Okay.
It's not hard. It's just waving your arms around, and it's just a matter of getting like the right pitches.
Uh-huh.
That's the art, like knowing how to pull your hand in and out of the electromagnetic space to get the right pitches, and also like, coordinating with your left hand to control the volume. But it's not entirely difficult. It's just it's one of those things that's like easy, like anybody could play a theremin, but to actually play a theremin is a different story.
Like anybody can bang on a drum.
Right.
That doesn't mean they're going to do it in rhythm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing.
I'm picking up what you said.
Yeah. Oh, here. I forgot about this one. Katie Coleman, she brought her flute on the ISS during 2020 or during Expedition 26 and 27, and she played a duet with Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull. This was done in 2011.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty cool. like that.
Look, man. Jethro Tull with the flute. They made flute cool. Ian Anderson
did.
is amazing.
I'm fully on board with that.
Yeah, but imagine like you have somebody up there with a guitar, and you're just like dan 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 dan.
Yeah.
We are up in space. Dan 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 dan. We're floating around in zero G. Dan 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 dan.
Preview of your song.
My brother is in a gorilla suit and floating here. Dan 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 dan. This has gone off the rails.
Well,
Anyway.
I feel like most of our episodes go off the rails at some point or another, so.
That's the charm. And if you love the charm, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our show.
Yeah.
Look, it's what happens when I am the substitute teacher here, right? I mean, I know space pretty well, but I'm just a substitute teacher. And what does a substitute teacher do? Sometimes they just wheel in a video cassette player. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they just wheel in that massive thing and they tell you to go down to the AV office and bring this in. And they put on, one time we watched Amadeus, which was awesome. Movie. Oh, you know what? My choir teacher wanted to murder the substitute teacher for that, though, because, of course, for the rest of the year, all of us were running around going, a stupid laugh. We watched Interview with a Vampire in my sci-fi class because that's really appropriate for high schoolers.
Sure, yeah. It's kind of science fiction, I guess.
Yeah, so this is like the equivalent to that. So anyway, again, getting off topic. Now Flight Day 8 is going to be really interesting. They're going to figure out their way to protect themselves from high radiation events like solar flares and so on and so forth. So they're going to use the supplies on Orion to actually like build protective equipment and shelters for them in case a solar flare occurs, which is a real problem out in space. And they're going to try out some of the manual piloting capabilities by steering the aircraft through a variety of tasks. So what they're going to do is they're going to pick like a target and try to orient the spacecraft to that target, doing various little like burns and maneuvers and such. Day 9 is basically going to be prep for splashdown, and then day 10 they're going to come back to the Earth, and they're going to be coming in freaking hot. Oh. Yeah. Well, you got to think about it, right? The space shuttle coming back from orbit, they were only in orbit around the Earth, so they were going fast, but not that fast. These guys have been slingshotted around the moon, using the moon's gravity to get back to Earth. You can only like slow yourself down so much. These guys are going to hit about 3,000 degrees on the outside of the capsule.
Right.
Which is kind of insane. And I forget off the top of my head exactly how fast they're going to be going, but they're going to hit, once they get down, of course, they're going to hit the 2 parachutes, which is going to slow them down to 307 miles an hour. Nice gradual. And then they're going to, those are called drogue chutes. Like, yeah, nice and casual. Drogue chutes is what those 2 parachutes are called. Once they've thrown down, they're going to hit the 3 main chutes, which we've seen on, again, we've all seen the Apollo landings at some point or another. And that's what's going to settle it down to 17 miles before splash down in the ocean.
Mm.
So yeah, that's it.
It's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So how
no,
long?
I'm go ahead.
How long total are they supposed to be up there again?
It's 10 days for launch to splashdown.
That's right. Okay. And we're on day 3.
We are currently on day 3.
At time of recording.
At time of recording. So the next episode we're going to do is going to be, celebrating the mission, of course, and its hopeful success, and kind of explaining what they learned. And I plan to talk about what's in the future. So what we're going to expect from Artemis 3 and 4.
Right.
All right, so I've talked a lot. Now it's time for your questions.
Uh, hmm. So, if you could only bring one movie with you into space, what would you bring?
Part of me wants to say Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but I could pretty much do a one-man show with that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Like, I literally used to do a one-man show on field trips at school and annoy half my classmates, but crack the other half of my classmates up. Honestly, I would bring Terrifier just for the fun of it.
Oh, wow. I've never actually seen that movie.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Art the Clown, right? He appeared in All Hallows Eve 2, and then the first Terrifier. Those were basically those three movies are basically torture porn, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a plot, but it's especially the first Terrifier movie. There's a plot, but there's a lot of just like hacking and slashing and killing. Terrifier 3 and 4, there is actually a pretty good plot, like a really good plot, and along with like the murder and mayhem. So if you only watch Terrifier 2 and 3, have a different expectation for 1. Likewise, if you watched 1, have a different expectation for 2 and 3, where there's actually a story there.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I would just bring the first Terrifier up just to, I don't know, see if I can make my my fellow astronauts barf or something.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's messed up.
I know, you think I would have like some deep philosophical thing like 2001 would be great, or, you know, I'd bring up the right stuff to inspire me to be a better astronaut. No. No, I'm just going to bring a movie. Either that or All right. I got to narrow it down to 3. Terrifier for the plot and just to, you know, gross out people, and 2 just to yeah. Another one just to make my fellow crew members go, "What on earth would that do we just watch?" I found a movie called The Grinch Who Stole Bitches. It's on Tubi.
Oh, this is one of your Tubi finds.
Yes.
Okay.
Watch it. It's the funniest thing.
The Grinch Who Stole Bitches?
Yep.
Can I ask what it's about?
No.
Is it about anything?
I'm not telling you.
Okay.
A third one I'd have to narrow it down to. God, see, I keep adding bad movies to this list just for fun. Like,
I
Velocip.
By that at all.
No, Velocipaster would be under consideration.
Okay.
Again, I'm not telling you what it's about. Just watch it.
I think
and
I
then
can tell.
another. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Okay.
Another one, and this one would be under strong consideration, would be Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls.
What is that?
It's actually a really good movie. Like, it's a classic campy B horror movie.
Okay.
I mean, it's not old. I mean, it came out 2022, I think, something like that. But it's like a movie in the vein of something like you would see on Elvira. Like, it's entertaining. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Terrifier would be the strongest candidate. What's yours?
Well, I mean, if I wanted to be very serious and very cerebral, of course, it would be 2001: Space Odyssey. But if I didn't want to be very serious and very cerebral, and I just wanted to watch a really good film that had to do with space, probably Alien. But not saying that it's not a serious film, but it's a lot more of a, it's not as much about like an art house kind of. It's more acceptable.
Remember, in space, no one can hear you scream.
That's right. And also, I really love John Hurt. But
Dude, greatest John Hurt line ever was in Spaceballs when they, at the end when the alien pops up and he goes, "Oh no, not again."
I love him. I just love him.
Like the first time I saw Spaceballs, like I didn't understand that. Then I got older and I saw Alien, and I'm like, "Oh, I get it now," and that is so much funnier.
Yeah. I had another one and I lost it. Probably the Space Mutiny episode of MST3K.
Okay.
Just keep coming up with more names for David Ryder. Big McLarge Huge. Roll Beef Flank. Gristle McThorn Body.
They have 24-hour stations of MST3K on YouTube, and it's just awesome.
Oh yeah, I watch it all the time because it's one of those things that you don't really have to watch. You can just sort of have it on and not really pay attention to it, or you can pay attention to it and enjoy it for what it is. And it's a great thing to just kind of have on in the background for all sorts of different tasks. You could be cleaning your kitchen. You could be working on a sewing project. You could be making out. I've definitely
conducting. No. You could. You could be conducting scientific experiments in space.
Yeah, you absolutely could.
Yeah. And they haven't even broken down further. So they have like a feed of just Joel episodes. They have a feed of just Mike episodes.
Yeah. Okay. So do you prefer Joel or Mike?
I don't. I don't have a preference.
No?
No, I know a lot of people do, and I know it's a hot topic, but I think like each of them have gem of episodes. Each of them have not so good episodes. So it's
I would agree with that. I don't really have a preference either. I like them both for different reasons because their relationship with the bots is very different. So assuming that there are people in our audience by some miracle who have never watched Mystery Science Theater 3000, I think we should probably explain it. It's a show where you have a guy who's trapped on a satellite and forced to watch bad movies by some mad scientists. And he has robots to keep him company and help him make fun of the movies so that he doesn't go insane. And
yes, and remember, if you're wondering how he eats and breathes and other science facts, remember it's just a show and you should really just relax.
Right. So, so the first host is the creator of the show, Joel Hodgson, and he was followed by Mike Nelson, who took over when Joel left the show, and there's like a big argument, dichotomy among MST3K fans of like who's the better host. Joel has this relationship with the robots where he's like trying to teach them like how to be human or what it means to be human. And then when he leaves and Mike gets on the satellite, the relationship is very much reversed, and Mike is not the one in charge. He's bullied by the robots most of the time.
Well, I mean, Joel did the dirty work.
Yeah, I like both of those scenarios. I think they're both really entertaining and fun, and I don't have a preference. I think there was a post that I saw, I can't remember where, that put it best. That was like, Joel is like the sweet guy that you want to marry, and Mike is the dumb jock that you want to have sex with.
Okay. Yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
It's and for some of the younger people out there listening, it was the predecessor to Riff Tracks. Like it eventually grew into Riff Tracks after it left TV.
Yeah, so Mike and two of the robots basically run Riff Tracks. Although now they're bringing back MST3K again in their old roles.
Oh, again?
They are.
Okay. Because a couple years ago they brought it back with Felicity Day and Patton Oswalt as a scientist.
Oh, it's so funny because me and my husband were talking one day, like, what if they did
Felicia
bring back
Day?
MST3K? Yeah, Felicia Day. We were talking about, like, what if they brought back MST3K? Who should be TV's Frank? And we both went, Patton Oswalt. And then he plays the son of TV's Frank, who's one of the mad scientists. For those of you who are not in the know, in the reboot. And who's the It's Jonah Ray. Jonah Ray is the
Yeah.
and I like
what is her name? I forget.
Hmm?
The character name.
Of
Jonah Ray.
who? He's just Jonah.
No,
Or you mean on something else that he does?
yeah, hold on. I gotta look this up.
You know, on MSG3K. So I don't know. That was my introduction to him.
No, the lady who took over after TV's Frank.
Oh, Pearl.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember who played her.
What is that actress's name? Mary Jo Pehl.
Mary Jo Pehl, yeah. There you go. That's driving me nuts. All right, did they say who is going to be in the cast now, or aside from the obvious?
Yeah, it's going to be Mike and the original Crow and well, no, not the original Crow, because the original Crow was Trace Beaulieu and then he was taken over by Bill Corbett. So it's going to be Bill Corbett and Tom Servo, Kevin Murphy. And that's all I know. It's those three.
Yeah, Mike, Bill, and Kevin. I'm looking at it right now.
I think I don't remember if so I don't know who the Mads are going to be.
Oh, Death Sport, Sting of Death, and Space Raiders.
Ooh.
Those are some bad movies. I'm looking at their Kickstarter right now.
Oh
my God, Death Sport is so bad.
Is that a Jean-Claude Van Damme joint? Or am I thinking something else? I'm thinking of Bloodsport.
No,
Never mind.
Yeah, Bloodsport. No, this is it's David Carradine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Kids, don't look into how David Carradine died.
Oh yeah. Don't.
Just don't. Never meet your heroes. All right. So movies in space. What else? What other questions can you grill me with here?
So I recently read that the stuff that they sell at like the Franklin Institute that they call astronaut ice cream has never actually been eaten by astronauts in space. It's just something that they sell as like a novelty in museums. So what do astronauts eat in space?
I am glad you asked that, because I had put that on the outline that I sent to you yesterday, and I forgot to talk about it. Look at that. I am glad you mentioned that. I should edit that out. Okay, totally intentional.
I'm gonna lie.
All right. No, it's funny. It is funny that you asked that, because I actually found a menu of what they're eating on the Artemis II. They have 189 unique items to choose from. Okay. They have coffee, green tea, mango peach smoothie, a chocolate breakfast drink, a vanilla breakfast drink. I'm assuming those are going to be like protein shakes. Lemonade, apple cider, pineapple drink, cocoa, and strawberry breakfast drink, which again, I would imagine is a protein shake.
Yeah.
I will say this, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's happened before. And actually, let me Google this. I know they brewed beer using hops that were grown in space.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I want to see something. Has anyone drank alcohol in space? Russian cosmonauts,
course,
apparently.
Naturally.
Yeah.
How could we even be surprised?
We don't go anywhere without vodka, comrade. Yes, I'm in space, but I have no vodka. Send another rocket ski without. Here we go. July 20th, 1969. Buzz Aldrin took communion with wine on the moon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And apparently astronauts have what?
No, he was Catholic.
Yeah, go
I
figure.
guess he could get but
Yeah, apparently astronauts have smuggled small bottles into space. I mean, it's not allowed, but you know.
yeah, I mean, I know you're not allowed to drink alcohol on American oceanographic research vessels.
Yeah, but I mean,
not allowed to
you
have
got
any
to bring one
alcohol
on.
at all. On other ships, you are allowed a ration of alcohol every day. You're allowed to have like a small glass of wine or a beer or something like that. But yeah, on American research vessels, you're not allowed to drink at all.
Wait, so how are you guys beating scurvy?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So we don't get a grog ration anymore. We actually,
All right,
it's
well
very
now I don't want to go on one of those research vessels with you anymore. If there's no grog ration, then forget it. You're on your own, kid.
if like I said, if you're not on an American research vessel, then you can drink. So,
Oh,
but it's actually very interesting because if you go on a research vessel, and it's a really long cruise, like I've been at sea for a month at a time. That was the longest cruise I ever went on, was a month long, but there are some that are longer than that can be several months long. You don't go into port to get more fresh food. You are at sea that entire time. Like, so they have special ways of keeping the produce fresh, but you can tell when some of the produce starts to go. Like certain things you'll eat earlier in the trip, because they don't keep well for the entirety of the trip. At one point during the voyage, you will have a lot of banana bread, because the bananas will have gone. But they have like a special room where they pack a lot of the fruit to keep it very cool and dry, sort of like a root cellar, so that it stays good for long periods of time. So we'll have fresh fruit for the entirety of the trip. But certain types of fruit, no matter what you do, they don't keep that long. So you'll eat those first. And then towards the end of the trip, you'll have things like oranges and apples because they keep a really long time.
interesting.
Yeah.
So if the admiral dies on the boat, then there's no barrel of rum to put him in.
No. I assume
Oh.
put them into cold storage in the big walk-in freezer. That's
Fair.
what I
Well,
assume they do.
look, I'm telling you, if I get launched into space, I am bringing something, and it's going to be something very, very good. I got a great whiskey from Chattanooga Spirits. Chattanooga, is it Chattanooga? Oh my gosh, I could look at the bottle. Yeah, Chattanooga whiskey. I got a great bottle of Chattanooga whiskey I could take up into space. I might try to smuggle up a small bottle of Dalwhinnie.
What's that?
Which is it's a very, very nice scotch.
Huh.
Or I might just bring some Kraken.
Oh yeah, see that I would bring rum because I'm a sailor, and because so much of the way that we talk about space travel borrows terms from sea travel. It feels appropriate to treat it like being at sea. So I would bring rum. I'm a rum girl. I don't care for whiskey. It tastes like dirt to me.
Well, here's a fun fact for you that you bring up, that like a lot of its nautical terms, which if you've watched Star Trek, they use that all, including the USS.
Right.
The first space shuttle built was called the Enterprise.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was purely experimental. They never intended to launch it. It was the one used for the like the tests when they were taking it off the 747 and landing tests, basically. So they would fly it up on the 747 and they would release the clips that were holding it, and it would glide to Earth. So they used the Enterprise to test that.
The first ever oceanographic research vessel was a tall-masted ship called the HMS Challenger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've had Columbia, we've had Endeavour. I actually have the Endeavour ship up in oh no, that's the Endurance I have upstairs in Lego form. Yeah, Atlantis. Like they're all named after ships, and as we see, that's going to be taken into the very distant future with Star Trek once we get into that timeline. So yeah, I'm not. It doesn't surprise me at all. Like it makes total sense with the keeping with the exploration theme. Anyway, back to the menu. They have
Oh yeah.
58 tortillas on board. They have flatbreads. They have vegetable quiche. They have breakfast sausages, couscous, granola bars, like a bunch of snacks and stuff. Mac and cheese, a couple salad, lots of veggies. There are 5 different hot sauces that are flying around with the crew. They're estimating it's going to take 43 cups of coffee to power the Artemis II crew through the whole mission, which 1 cup of coffee a day?
Yeah.
Because they're up there for 10 days. So 1 cup of coffee per day per person, that's, man, either the caffeine hits a lot harder up in space or these guys are running on fuel. Then again, they have like a bunch of protein and other carb loaded stuff to help them, keep going.
How difficult it would be to like fall asleep on the job while an astronaut. I don't know.
Yeah, I need that 3 o'clock pick me up, man. Let's see. They have maple syrup, chocolate spread, peanut butter, hot sauce, spicy mustard, strawberry jam, honey, cinnamon, almond butter. They're going to have 5 Canadian products up there, which is probably 5 different variations of maple syrup.
Oh, right, because there's a Canadian on board.
Yes, and no Molson, but no, it's yeah, I was really hoping to see poutine on here because there was Canadian on board, but nothing used to cobble together. What?
Bacon. The weird
yeah,
bacon.
that's true. Yeah, Canadian bacon. Comparing that with, I mean, everything's got to be shelf stable, obviously, and it's similar to what you said about keeping it on the research vessel. So they don't have like a full galley, of course, on this thing.
Right.
So it's more or less like nuked. But yeah, they got all sorts of stuff. Like they're MREs, but they're much tastier MREs. Comparing that to Apollo 11.
That's the question.
What?
Do they make you constipated? That's the question. You know what MRE stands for?
Oh yeah.
Meal refuses to exit.
Yep. Compared to the Apollo 11 astronauts, they literally had MREs.
Right.
Beef hash, chicken and rice, bacon squares, and peanut butter. And they rehydrated meals using a water probe and ate directly from the pouches. So it was all just like, the dehydrated stuff that like the food in tubes that we know about.
Right. I have to say that I've had some MREs that are actually quite good. The peanut butter is really good.
That's what I've heard. A lot of people have said the peanut butter is amazing.
You could glue stuff to the ceiling with that peanut butter. It's so good.
It's like Spam. It's got so many uses.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have a light in the dark, just crack open a can of Spam. It glows.
Right.
But yeah, the menu is a lot more expansive, so that's good, and they have a lot more choices. And I'm kind of like excited to see what they come up with ways to cook on the moon base. I'm sure there'll be some sort of galley, even though like I know fire is going to be a big concern. I would imagine they would have to have some kind of like full on kitchen when they establish the moon base.
Yeah, they've got to have some way to like heat food, I would imagine, but I don't know how.
Well, they're heating it now. It's like well, you know how the Japanese have the self-heating bento boxes. It's that's what they're sort of using now.
Oh, the MREs come with those too. It's like a little pouch.
It's like a little hot packet. Yeah, like a hand warmer, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of the nutshell of how they eat. But yeah, what else you got for me? I'm on a roll.
Oh gosh, I don't know. We've been going at this for a while. I'm kind of like running out of things to ask about.
That's fine. Save it for the next episode then. But what are your thoughts about the about what they've done so far? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's amazing. I know there's people who, they see something like this and they're like, why are we spending money on this when, people are hungry or, we're not putting money into education, we're not putting money into healthcare, blah 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 blah. And like I of course, as a filthy leftist, I agree that like yeah, we need to be putting money into education and healthcare and feeding people and housing people and all of that stuff. But it doesn't have to be an either or kind of scenario. Like I think that if anything, maybe we could be asking, like, why are we spending money on so many Tomahawk missiles? Why are we spending money on aircraft carriers that our guys are apparently just lighting fires on now? It totally wasn't a hit from Iran. But anyway, like, we don't have to choose between feeding human curiosity and expanding our understanding of the universe and taking care of each other. I don't think it's an either or situation at all. We're fooled into thinking it's that way by people with interests of a certain variety. I don't know. I don't want to get too political on Maine again, but
Yeah. No, it's necessary, and I've had that same question asked me by a couple people too. Like, all right, we've already been to the moon. What's the point? I said it earlier in the episode. This time it's different. It's not. We're not going to the moon just as John Kennedy said, because it is there. We're not going to the moon just to get there, just to beat the Russians. The plan this time is to get to the moon and stay there,
right.
and become an interplanetary species. Which, I mean, let's be real here. We're already having overcrowding issues on Earth, let alone by the time we figure out how to colonize the moon and colonize and terraform Mars to make it livable. Like, you think it's bad now. wait till we get, 200 years in the future. There's no choice but to be an interplanetary species by that point. So,
I think there are plenty of arguments to be made for putting our energy into making this planet the only one that we know so far can support life, preserving it and keeping it livable rather than trying to colonize a dead planet that may not be able to support life. But that's a question for another day. I don't want to get into it right now.
no, well, that's kind of what I feel like part of this is to find different ways. Like what was that movie with Matt Damon where he was the astronaut stranded on Mars? The Martian. And yeah, and he figured out how to grow like potatoes from his piss or something like that. I think that's like part of it. If you find a way to colonize Mars and figure out how to grow plants and stuff up there, especially in a very limited environment, then you can perfect doing that stuff on Earth and therefore have more abundance for the people living here.
Yeah, there's plenty of applications for the things that we can learn by doing this that can directly benefit us on Earth. It you don't know what the outcomes are going to be necessarily. Like, you can't predict what you're going to learn and how it can shape the future. There's lots of developments made by NASA that we use directly in our lives all the time. So yeah, I think that there's something to be said for the mission itself, and there's plenty of criticisms that could be made for it. There's a lot to be said about whether it makes sense to think about putting a base on the moon and the reasons why we want to do that and all that. But at the end of the day, space exploration is important. It's amazing that we can do it to begin with. And it's important that we keep expanding our knowledge as human beings, because that's what makes being human worth it. That's what makes being a human being interesting. We are the universe observing itself, to quote Carl Sagan. Like, our curiosity is what makes us so amazing and so interesting and has kept us successful as a species for so long.
Yeah. And to put a nice bow on this, I mean, we're going to do a third episode about the Artemis II and then the future of it. But I wanted to give an update where they are right now, because there is a tracker on the NASA website. It's supposed to be real time. I don't know exactly how real time it is, because it says elapsed mission time is 1 day, 21 hours, 1 minute. I don't know exactly what timing base they're using for it, but we'll just say, like, the website says it's real time, so I'm going to go with that. So it's 3:37 p.m. on April 3rd, and they are just under halfway to the moon. So they're going 3,630 miles an hour. They're 109,500, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 miles from Earth. That's how fast, like, this thing goes. About 2 miles a second at least. And their distance left to the moon is 155,118 miles. So they're a little bit less than halfway there.
Wow.
And that is where they are as of right now. So there's people flying up to the moon. We're on our way, well underway, and we're going to hit that free return trajectory. And again, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see some of the pictures. If you want to look at the pictures, they're on the NASA website, and they're also doing a lot of coverage on the NASA YouTube channel and the social medias there. So I'd point you guys all in that direction. I'll include a couple links too on the show recap for you to check out as well. But that's going to do it for our episode on the second part of the Artemis II episode. And next time, of course, we're going to be talking about the conclusion of the mission, what we learned, and kind of go over, hopefully, some of the data that they've parsed and gone through by the time we record the next one. And Lauren's going to have her song. I'm going to have my song. And yeah, it's going to be a celebration, really, next episode. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
We have fun here.
Yeah.
If you enjoy fun, consider following us, and also letting your friends know that we have fun, so that they can come have fun with us too.
Yeah, we're a science project that or science podcast that kind of goes on the side of a bit of pop culture stuff, but that's okay, because we kind of tie it all back into science.
Project.
Yeah, we bring it all back in, so it's okay. And yeah, eventually we're going to start that movie podcast when this is our full-time job and we have more followers than Mr. Beast. So it'll happen. Manifest. Everybody manifest. But yeah, like Dr. Lawrence said, like, comment, and subscribe. But thank you guys all for tuning in, and tell all your friends, and you guys all have a good day and follow the mission. And we're doing this for all of humanity.
Guy. Oh my God.
What?
Pray for Shower Guy. Keep him in your thoughts.
Yeah. Nah, he'll be all right. I have a feeling he's fine. He's durable. He's a tough old biddy. But yeah, he's tough. Anyway, yeah, so that'll do it. So see you guys in a couple weeks' time. And again, for all humanity, although they missed a good opportunity. If it was me, I would have said for duty and humanity.
For duty and humanity.
But
Yeah. Well.
yeah, I would give the first eye poke in space. That's for sure. Anyway, we're gonna close it out. So thank you guys again. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time, and goodbye. Say goodnight, Lauren.
Good night, Lauren.